Let's review some of the traditional dates of Islamic history.
The traditional date of Muhammad's birth was 570. He married Khadija in 595. He had revelations from 610 through 632. The Hijra, and year one of the Islamic calendar, was 622. The first three caliphs were friends of Muhammad, or prominent people. They were rejected, looking backwards, by the Shias, but the Sunnis accepted them as righteous.
The chart shows the relationship of Muhammad's great-grandfather Hashim to his uncle, Hashim's uncle Umayyad, and to the first four caliphs and their descendants. Ali's caliphate was marked by civil war. Muawiyah, a great-grandson of Umayyad, emerged victorious. During Umayyad's life, the Alids retained their loyalty. But at his death, Ali's son Hussein revolted, saying he would not recognize Yazid. Hussein died at the battlefield in Karbala, an event recalled by Shias at the Ashura. The most important Umayyad was probably Abdul Malik. In 697 or so, he reformed the coinage, he reformed the government, he built the Dome of the Rock. By 711, the Muslims reached Spain and the Indus River Valley in what is now Pakistan. The Abbasid Empire took over from the Umayyads in a revolt which began around 750, claiming the support of the most appropriate descendant of the family of Muhammad. It was not the Shia ruler. The Abbasid Caliphate founded Baghdad as a circular city. Harun al-Rashid was probably its most storied caliph, being featured in the stories of the Arabian Nights. The Abbasids promoted wisdom and knowledge, built Dar al-Hikmah, the House of Wisdom. They were not able to maintain a coordinated kingdom, and by the 900s they had begun to fall apart. The most important ramifications of this were the rise of independent caliphates, or kingdoms calling themselves caliphates, in Spain and in Egypt. The Egyptian group was called the Fatimids.
The Fatimids claimed ancestry from Ismail, the son of Ja'far as-Sadiq, who died before Ja'far did. Most Imami Shias claimed that the imamate passed through Musa al-Kadhim, who survived his father. The Fatimids were Shias, Ismaili Shias, and in Baghdad there were also Shias who were effectively the rulers, even though they ruled in the names of the Sunni Abbasid caliphs. The Fatimids ruled in Egypt until Saladin ended their dynasty in 1171 in the aftermath, or I should say in the fighting leading up to the Third Crusade. The Fatimids founded Al-Azhar University. They created a multi-religious society with Sunnis and Shias, with Jews and Christians and so on, and are typically considered more liberal than the Sunnis during that period of time. This was also the time in which Africans became Muslims in areas of what are today Ghana and Mali and northern Nigeria. And in the 1050s to 1070s, the Seljuks, Sunni Turks, entered Baghdad, entered what today is Turkey, Asia Minor, and began the Sunnification or Resunnification of Iraq and the Turkicization, the Islamic conversion in what today is Turkey. The Crusades were a response in part to Seljuk intrusions in this area. In 1095, the Pope proclaimed the crusade to win back the Holy Sepulchre Church for Christianity after it had been occupied by the Turks briefly and then again by the Fatimids. The first crusade was successful. Jerusalem became Christian in 1099. Saladin threw the Christians out, you might say, of the Holy Land, returning to Jerusalem in 1187. The Mamluks succeeded Saladin's dynasty, establishing themselves in 1250. The Mamluks were originally slaves. They were imported from the far reaches of the Islamic Empire. trained as slaves for the military and for certain government administrative posts, freed, and owed their loyalty to the government. However, a dynasty took over that was originally Mamluk slaves, and that's what they were called. They threw the Crusaders out of the Holy Land, succeeding in 1291 to end Christian control in Acre and the area around Haifa, their last place of domination. In the 12th century also, we have the Mongol invasion of the Islamic world. The Mongols, led by Genghis Khan, his sons and his grandsons, conquered into southern Russia, into what is today Iraq, parts of Syria, did not conquer the Holy Land. They were kept out by the Battle of Ain Jalut by the Mamluks. The period of time with the Mongol dynasty, which became Muslim in the end of the 13th century, and the Mamluk dynasty was a period in which Sufi religiosity spread, as well as the study of Islamic law in schools of Sharia, especially Shafi and Hanbali schools. The next major period is marked by Ottoman expansion. The Ottomans were a group of Turks who had settled in what today is Western Turkey and began conquering in southeastern Europe in the 1300s. The Ottomans conquered Constantinople in 1453. The modern period can be said to begin with Napoleon's incursion into Egypt. Napoleon was expelled from the area more by the British than by the Ottomans, and in 1805, Muhammad Ali more or less became independent of the Ottomans. Muhammad Ali and the Ottomans in Constantinople effected many major reforms, getting rid of Mamluks or Janissaries Mamluks in Egypt and Janissaries in Istanbul, reforming education, reforming the way that religions were handled, especially in Turkey under the Tanzimat, reforming land ownership policies, modernizing the legislation, and so on. The Ottoman Empire was losing territory due to revolts. For example, Greece became independent, so did Serbia, many areas in southeastern Europe. And the Ottoman Empire did not survive its involvement in World War I. The last important Ottoman general, Mustapha Kemal, declared a secular republic in Turkey in 1924.